Hello everyone. The day has finally come. I can put it off no longer. It is time to look at and restore the infamous Hoover Dial-A-Matic Model 1100 from 1963. This is one of the most important vacuum cleaners ever made. That does not, however, detract from the fact that it is an absolute bloody nightmare to work on. So first of all, a little history lesson for you. I'm sure you guys, you're all very clever, very knowledgeable, even more so than me. Oh, God. I struggle to look at it because I know what's coming. This machine was the world's first clean air upright vacuum cleaner. Now, it's hard to underestimate just how important that fact is. The machine itself is from 1963, and it was never sold in the UK. The first convertible we got was model 1128 in, I think, 1967, something along those lines. Our American cousins were the first to receive the Dial-A-Matic range. I've never really known why Hoover chose to change the name from Dial-A-Matic in the US to the convertible in the UK. It kind of makes sense because it is a convertible cleaner. You could convert it into tools mode and it would act like a cylinder machine. And I also get the reason why they called it Dial-A-Matic, because you, on the back, you dial what function you want the machine to perform, be it carpet cleaning or tools cleaning. Oh, yeah, come on. This particular machine was sent over to me from the US in 1999. So I've owned it since 1999, which is really quite something. That's a long time, 23 years I've had it. And to be honest with you, I have not been particularly good to this cleaner. I've never stored it particularly well. It was stored in a garage in Swindon for many years, which was obviously not particularly waterproof, quite damp air. But it hasn't suffered too badly. I'm reasonably certain I can do a pretty good restoration on this particular cleaner. So yeah, born of the 60s, an absolute revelation of its time, and actually very, very clever. What Hoover did here was absolute genius, frankly. To create this machine from scratch, I don't even know how they sort of came up with it, to be honest with you. They must have been smoking some pretty good stuff to come up with this idea. Being the first of its kind, it is, I would say, fatally flawed in many, many ways. They would go wrong. Oh, they just go wrong, and start to fail in various different ways. The seals Hoover used around the bag door area were not of the best quality. Rubber over time hardens and shrinks. So what you would find was when the machine was new, you'd start off with fantastic suction and airflow. Over time, that would diminish by quite a significant amount. The fact that the cleaner is really rather loud as well, and it is incredibly heavy. This die-cast base here and the huge motor, it really adds to the weight of them. And you often find, and actually some of my other machines that are over here, this one amazingly hasn't suffered the same fate. But the top section, where I've got to be so careful with it, where the handle goes in, can I see? Oh, hello. Where the handle goes into the top of the plastic there, they broke for a pastime. They really did. They just snapped because there's so much force on this piece of the body here. If you're picking it up, you're moving it around, you're wanging it back and forth, usually smacking it into radiators. People are bastards. They always broke. And just imagine carrying this upstairs to if it was your only machine. carrying it upstairs to do upstairs and then carrying it back down. Oh God, absolute nightmare. However, having said that, absolute genius, really clever. Now, I'm kind of coming across here that I don't like this machine. I love it. I absolutely love it. It is not to look at, but it is one of the prize pieces of my vacuum cleaner collection. Because I know of only one other person who has one of these in the UK. And I'd kind of like to think I was the first, because I've had this for a long time. So, yes, I had one first. This particular cleaner is actually quite special, because many, many years ago, I converted this to use a 240 volt motor. I don't know where that motor came from. I have a feeling it came from a scrapped porta power. Now, there's a whole sub-story there about this particular motor and all of the different machines it was used in. And actually, I kind of have a feeling that I'd quite like to do a video about certain Hoover motors in the future and the machines they were used in, and kind of like where a motor is driving the design of the cleaner rather than the cleaner driving the design of the motor, if that makes sense. But that's a whole different tangent. Let's just for now, let's just focus on this bad boy. I do have a quick question whilst it's in my mind. I have this hose with the cleaner that I think came with it. I think it was a long time ago. And this is a cream hose. I found this in the garage the other week. And I actually put a picture of it up because it was utterly filthy and disgusting. When I first pulled it out of the box, I thought, oh, that's a celebrity hose. And then, of course, I looked at the end and I thought, nope, that's Dial-A-Matic. And I believe I got this hose with this cleaner. But should this machine have had a grey hose? That's my question to the American viewers. Should it have been grey? This is like an off-white colour, but I just have the feeling, it might have been grey originally, and this is a replacement hose. Let's just have a quick chat about the interesting quirks and features of this particular machine. The most odd part of it all is the orientation of the brush roll. Now, you'll see that the suction hose is here, so the airflow comes down this side, and it's moved through the base plate up this side of the cleaner. But if you look at the brush roll and how it rotates, the helix of the brush roll moves away from the airflow opening. So this is the original brush roll, but that's how we know that it's the original brush roll, because the helix is backwards. And now, all these years later, almost 60 years later, you sit here and think to yourself, how did they get that so wrong? It's fine if you're picking up light dust, hair, that kind of thing. But of course, it is utterly, utterly useless if you're trying to pick up larger, heavier items. Imagine you had spilt some popcorn kernels on the floor and you were going to use your brand new Hoover upright to vacuum them up. Well, it wouldn't do it. It would get some of them that are close to the airflow point. The rest of them, they'll just rattle around in the helix because it's pushing them this way. It's actually pushing them away from the airflow opening. So as I say, how could they get that so wrong? But up until this point, Hoover had never produced, at least I don't think they had, a vacuum cleaner that didn't have a central air path. So just thinking about that for a second, all the machines from the 20s, 30s, 40s and 50s, thinking about the Hoover Juniors, the Seniors, the commercials, they all had a central airflow path. So it wouldn't necessarily matter all that much if the helix was rotating away from that airflow path. In the instance of the Dial-A-Matic, it is absolutely critical, and I guess they just didn't think of it. They were like, oh, we'll just use this brush roll. Does it matter? Fascinating that they missed that. But they did. And this is the only machine I've ever seen that has that quirk to it, which is pretty cool. The other thing about this one being the original of its kind, the very first of its kind, is in this hose here. So this is the hose that carries the dirt from the cleaner head into the bag, which is stored in here, which we will see shortly. This is permanently attached to the bag door. All of the other machines here, they have a rubber bung, if you like, which allows you, the end user, to remove this hose from the bag door. Now that was obviously to enable you to clear any blockages, because this is a real pain in the ass. This is a very long hose. It runs from here all the way down to here, probably about there. And trying to clean that out if it gets blocked from this end is very difficult. You can take this out, obviously, you can take it out, but it requires you to disassemble some interior parts that are housed within the bag door. So that was an improvement in the later machines. Now, I don't know that much about the US versions of this cleaner. I only really know about the ones that we had in the UK, which I think were all produced in France, apart from the Power Drive, which was produced in America. The other interesting thing to note about this particular cleaner, i.e. the first one, is the fact that it does not have a bag full indicator. On the later models, the airflow that's being exhausted out of the front here, the motor resides here, and the exhaust air runs up the front of the cleaner and is blown out of this grill at the top, sometimes straight into the user's face, which is fantastic. Thanks, Hoover. And that airflow would actuate a little sign which says check bag. Now, when the air is blowing through, the indicator is closed, so that shows you that airflow is fine. When airflow drops, the weight pulls down and the little ding check bag sign pops out. This machine does not have that, only later revisions do. Let's have a quick look inside, and we'll just very carefully, I've got to be so careful with this. Oh. This is old plastic, and I'm terrified of actually breaking it. So let's get this off. Here we go. We have the original US Flex. I believe this is original. It's ribbed. It's attacking me. It's ribbed cable. There is no Hoover sign on the 2-pin plug. So this may have been replaced at some point. I don't know. I don't know if it should have had that or not. You guys can tell me. And let's have a look inside. Now, there is a little inscription here, which is really lovely. So it says, rebuilt November 1999 for Mr. Stephen, Swindon, UK, by J.A. Parker, Seward, NE, USA. So this was the lovely Jeff Parker actually refurbished this for me and sent it over, which is very kind of him. I don't know what this bag is. What on earth is this bag? That is not the correct bag for this cleaner. Can I take it off? Let's see what it is. Oh, I think that is a Dirt Devil Rebel bag. Actually, I've actually managed to fit a Dirt Devil Rebel bag onto this cleaner. There's a massive irony there because the Rebel is probably about as rare as this cleaner is. So that's pretty cool. And if I just swing this round, you can see inside. So there's the suction / airflow adjustment regulator. We have a very primitive filter, which is in dire need of cleaning. And the infamous rubber seals, which failed all the time. Oh, dearie me. I keep sighing because I know what's coming. Now, when I did that 240 volt conversion all those years ago to this cleaner, it didn't go particularly well. And the reason I say that is because the machine no longer runs. So, probably not the best job I could have done ever. Which means now it is time to restore this vacuum cleaner. Oh, it's a massive job. It's going to be over multiple parts because I can't do it all in one video, and I might actually have to edit it down quite a lot. I think what I'll do is chop it up into various bits. So we'll take the machine apart. That could be part one. Then we'll look at the motor. Sorry, part two. We'll look at the motor, which will be part three, and then we'll put it all back together and test it, which would be part four. So that's what I'm thinking, and that should work okay. But yeah, there's just one other thing I want to show you, and I should have put it here before I started filming, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. So I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. So sometime after the machine arrived back in 99, I was looking for them on eBay, eBay USA, and they were, I mean, you just couldn't find them. Even all those years ago, you couldn't find them. But I did find these 2 pieces of paper, which are quite interesting. Now, this one, and they were in like a job lot. It was the 2 of them in the same listing. I thought, oh, that's interesting. And just to note, someone's written 64 on this side. This is an advert for Allstate Auto Insurance, founded by Sears, which I believe is a retail company in America. Don't know if they still exist or they've gone bust, probably gone bust. And the first advert was for the Hoover Slimline. It was quite nice, a machine that we didn't get in the UK. It's the cut down version of the Hoover Portable, which we did get in black and white, which is lovely. And then the other one is this fabulous advert for Budweiser. Pick a pair. Okay, I will pick a pair. Smart way to buy, 2 at a time. Well, you can't argue with that, can you? Actually, it's not the Budweiser advert, even though it is pretty cool. Let's turn this over. Oh, hello. A new kind of cleaner, the Hoover Dial-A-Matic. So this, I believe, is the first advertisement for model 1100. And it is really cool because it goes into detail and explains why this machine is really quite special. The first subheading is, where's the bag? Well, you can't see the bag, which was a revelation in 63, 64. Secondly, where's the motor? Well, can't see it. It's inside. And finally, why the dial? Why the dial? Well, yeah. Hoover actually called it the power dial. I didn't know that because I haven't really read this properly. Let me read this advert to you. Right, let's have a quick look at this then. This is a better angle. Okay, so as I mentioned, new kind of cleaner, Hoover Dial-A-Matic. Where's the bag? The disposable bag inside this new Hoover Dial-A-Matic is completely hidden inside the streamlined housing, and not just for good looks. It makes possible a new kind of air cleaning system that filters dust-carrying air 3 times to make it pure and dust-free before it's released into the room. Another big advantage, airflow is routed around the fan chamber, so the blades can never be damaged by clips, tacks, and bobby pins that are sucked in. Where's the motor? Hoover's designed the motors to sit back and under, out of the way, so the Dial-A-Matic can get under low furniture where other vacuums can't. It's a new kind of motor with 30% more cleaning power for carpets and rugs, 2.5 times more suction for the cleaning attachments that slip in at knee level. God, you'd have some bloody short knees. The new Dial-A-Matic is the first vacuum that truly has the power of 2 cleaners in one. Does all the jobs of an upright and a canister, does them better. Why the dial? This power dial makes the Hoover Dial-A-Matic an astonishing new cleaning concept. Instead of just another vacuum cleaner, dial the exact power you need for anything from deep pile carpeting to throw rugs. Dial the right power for attachments for bare floors, furniture, and other above floor cleaning jobs. Here at last is real custom cleaning power. your Hoover dealer is waiting to demonstrate the new Dial-A-Matic with its complete set of attachments. And there we go. Part one of our series that we are going to be looking at the Dial-A-Matic Model 1100. I will be a very, very happy man if we can get this machine looking a lot nicer than it currently does, and also running as well. It's been a long time since I've used this. I did use it a couple of times. When it had its original 120 volt motor, I used it with the site transformer that I run all my 120 volt machines off. And it worked really well, but it's such a pain in the arse having to drag that transformer out every time you want to use one of these cleaners. And the fact that this has a 240 volt motor in it makes it absolutely unique. There will be no other Model 1100 Dial-A-Matics in the world with a 240 volt motor in them. This will quite literally be the only one of its kind, and that is pretty damn cool. So I shall leave you on that positive note, and myself and the 1100 will see you in part 2, where I will undoubtedly be crying my eyes out because I've got to take this bloody thing apart. Don't forget to do the usual commenting, subscribing and liking, because I really appreciate it, and I always love hearing from you. But until next time, you guys take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.